Minecraft has gotten many updates with its nearly 16-year tenure on the internet. What was once a steady stream of features added to an alpha became major themed updates, providing overhauls and additions to entire sections of the most popular game of all time. A shift from the steady stream to major themed updates happened with the Adventure update in Java in 2011, and up until very recently, it was the standard for Minecraft's development cycle. I could spend hours covering each update and all the features that were added, but there is one update that never seems to get the love it deserves. When people talk about updates that revolutionized Minecraft in more modern times, things like the Nether update or Caves and Cliffs are mentioned heavily, and rightfully so. Some will mention how many important features were added in the Village and Pillage update, but still, one huge update is missing. My ball knowers will understand the exact update I'm talking about. Actually, if you read the title or thumbnail, you probably also know, but just play along with me for a little bit here. I'm talking about Update Aquatic. Today, we're going to be going over why this update was needed, what specifically was added, and why it remains one of the most important updates to this day. Minecraft Update Aquatic was added in the summer of 2018. True to its name, this update focused on overhauling oceans to a major degree. The release of this update was also significant for a few reasons. First, it marked the actualization of Mojang's efforts to release the same update on all platforms fairly simultaneously, whereas there would be major content gaps and a lack of parity between Bedrock and Java. Up until this point, differently named and unrelated updates would happen per edition, and Update Aquatic was here to change that. As is for most attempts at the first of something, there were still some discrepancies for the time frame and content in the updates, with Bedrock getting the first phase of updates in May of 2018 and getting the rest in July, and Java getting the full update a little over a week after Bedrock on July 18, 2018. An update to the oceans was needed because, well, the oceans sucked. There was nothing in them. There was no reason to explore them, and they served as a means to an end for finding the next island or the next landmass. I remember being a kid and thinking there'd be really cool things in the ocean, only to be pretty consistently let down. Also, fishing was weird. Like, how are you gonna catch fish but the only fish in the game were just bubbles on a fishing screen? Simply put, oceans were a barren wasteland, and as Minecraft was approaching its 10th birthday, the only changes received was a pretty rare structure in the Ocean Monument. Don't get me wrong, Ocean Monuments and Guardians are really cool, but if that's all the largest biome in the game has going for it, you're in trouble. The waters needed a change, and they needed it badly. Luckily, Update Aquatic did just that. Here are some of the key things that it changed. First, let's look at things that aren't water related. Trapdoors, pressure plates, and buttons were added for all the other wood types besides oak, heralding a new era of customization and detail on builds. The wood block was added, a version of logs with bark on all sides, and is craftable by 4 logs. Speaking of logs, you can now right-click with an axe to strip them. This is an immaculate set of features and really revolutionized building for high school Barleks, and still does to this day. This one is water adjacent. Icebergs. Icebergs were added, and blue ice can be inside them or made with 9 packed ice. This is now a staple for most in-game players in their worlds for transport. In another edition, the end was split into separate biomes, featuring floating, medium, high, and barren islands. As for what's in the air and not the water, we have the winner of the first ever mob vote, the Phantom. Not even lying, this guy sucks. Not even for the reasons most hate the Phantom. I just think the Phantom makes Minecraft markedly easier by forcing the player to sleep instead of making their way through the night, and it entirely disincentivizes players to build a base to protect oneself and be able to operate at night. Moving on to the water itself, as would be expected, there's a lot. Starting from the basic and working our way to the revolutionary, the water texture itself was changed. This allows the player to see better through the water, which is nice because now there's stuff underwater to look at. There are now warm, lukewarm, and cold variants of both the ocean and the deep ocean, giving 6 biomes to the water world, with the 7th and 8th being the deep frozen ocean and the frozen ocean. In frozen oceans, you can find the aforementioned icebergs. Among the biomes, there are features in the underwater worth exploring, and to explore them, we now have revitalized swimming. Seagrass and kelp now dot the ocean floor, allowing you to collect kelp as a food source or a fuel source. Sea pickles are found in warm ocean biomes, a light source for above or underwater. They are most found near what is one of my favorite features, the coral reef. This is a new area of the ocean where you can find beautiful, vibrant environments with a multitude of coral blocks and fans. This lush underwater environment is a prime habitat to many of the newfound mobs that roam the underwater. This update finally added real underwater fish. There are your cod, which now have a retexture, salmon, pufferfish, and 3,584 types of tropical fish who favor the coral reefs. These fish share the same water with larger mobs such as dolphins and turtles, who add so much life to the underwater. Dolphins are awesome and can give the effect of dolphin's grace, allowing you to swim much faster in their presence. Turtles are interesting because they can exist on land or in the sea and lay eggs on beaches. These eggs drop scoot if hatched, which can craft a new helmet or have potion effects. Before they hatch though, zombies, zombie pigmen, and a new mob all instinctively stomp on them. This new mob is the drowned. They swim underwater and can walk on land at night. They are the water equivalent of a zombie, and zombies who fall underwater and cannot get up become the drowned. What sets apart the drowned are the unique dangers and opportunities they present. Some drowned can carry a trident, a new weapon that can be ranged or melee, and will pack a serious punch to the player. Some drowned will drop a trident and you can enchant it to do some pretty awesome things. Drowned can also carry nautilus shells, which are a component of another feature we will talk about in a little bit. Drowned are often seen around structures, and these structures can be something like the new underwater ravines and caves, coral reefs, or some exciting ones like underwater ruins or shipwrecks. Both of these structures add intrigue and carry lore implications, but they also have loot, shipwrecks obviously with more loot. Some of this loot can be lucrative like diamonds, emeralds, and iron, but there is one piece of loot that I look out for, the buried treasure map. This is a map that leads the player to a buried treasure just off the coast or underwater, and they hold even better loot than shipwrecks. One of the more exciting things you can find in buried treasure is a heart of the sea. When combined with 8 nautilus shells, you can craft a conduit, which, when placed in a frame of prismarine, gives a status effect of conduit power, granting all players underwater or in rain water breathing, night vision, and haste. In some final changes, magma and soul sand now have effects to you by sending waves of bubbles to the surface. Magma sucks the player down and soul sand shoots the player up, paving the way for some really cool elevators. Items also now float to the surface of water. There are so many more features, but these were the most relevant to bring up in this video. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. So what? Why does this YouTube version of a wiki matter, and what point are you trying to make? That is an excellent question, my viewer, and here is my response that I have off the cuff and not crafted for my curated question to make a point. When people consider updates that add significant changes, I have not seen anyone mention Update Aquatic in quite some time. I get that the update was nearly 7 years ago, but the updates still hold true. Many people, especially those that I'm close with, hark the Nether update as the best update Minecraft has received in a decade. While part of me wants to agree, Update Aquatic did this with an area of the game that you will interact with much more than the Nether, and adding life, vibrance, and purpose to the waters make it a contender for one of the greatest updates of all time. When I see people talk about Update Aquatic, it almost always revolves around one thing and one thing only: phantoms. Given, phantoms do indeed suck, but the community were the ones to vote for it. The other changes added in this update were absolutely revolutionary, and we take them for granted every time we log in. Personally, I can't imagine seeing a massive expanse of water inhabited solely by squids. I know you have doubts or reservations on me saying that this is one of the greatest updates of all time, so I want to give you a challenge. Load up a world, explore the ocean for 10 minutes, and then exit. Then, load up a version of Minecraft before Update Aquatic. Travel the ocean for 10 minutes. Try fishing. Try swimming a long distance. These are features we don't notice anymore because it is so ingrained in the gameplay experience that we forget what life was like before then. I have fallen victim to this too. Update Aquatic was so monumental, so important, that it changed how we play Minecraft forever. But it did it in such a way that we don't even notice it anymore. When I go into the Nether, I always remember what it was like beforehand. I remember zombie piglins, I remember the lack of biomes, I remember when I didn't have to wear gold. When I go in the water, I forget what things were before this. With only a 2-year difference between the updates, that bears significance. What do you think? Do you like Update Aquatic? What do you think the best update is in Minecraft? What is your favorite update? Is there a difference between the two? What updates does Minecraft need the most to get another update discussed as widely as the Nether update and Update Aquatic? Let me know that and more in the comments down below. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It's the best way to support the channel. In the top left, I have a playlist of all my Minecraft video essays, so go check them out. That just about does it for me, so until next time, y'all take care.